Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission of the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Meridian Station and unconfirmed missions from Halo 5 on the next episode. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. This episode, we're debriefing the Glast mission from Halo 5. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
Is that a space elevator, or are you just happy to see me?
Nice one. Okay, last mission was Blue Team.
What?
Master Chief and Blue Team were deployed to investigate an Oni research facility named Argent Moon. Scavengers had been looting the site and selling its tech to Jul Mdama's Covenant for use in the war against the Arbiter. While clearing out the riffraff, Chief took a tumble and had a vision of Cortana. Ooh. She directed John, Kelly, Fred, and Linda to an event that's soon to take place on Meridian. After blowing the reactor to scuttle the ship, Chief disobeyed orders to regroup on the Infinity. Instead, Blue Team swiped a prowler and headed to Meridian to track down Cortana. This mission is Glast. While Halsey, Lasky, Palmer, and Roland attempt to sort out the Cortana conundrum, Fireteam Osiris is deployed on Meridian in pursuit of Blue Team. Upon arrival, they met a grumpy governor that's dealing with a Promethean invasion. Locke and the gang quickly take up arms and help defend the corporate excavation effort. The date of the game is October 25th, 2558. Now, the way this mission opens is a little bizarre. So let's talk about this opening cutscene, and then we have some I don't know, constructive criticism to talk about and some questions as a whole. But let's take it at face value for right away.
Okay. So, if you remember, Halsey was kind of dragged away at the end of the last scene. It's kind of last scene. So this kind of mission opens up with Halsey coming onto the bridge and pretty much saying, "I tried to warn you this was happening. What the hell? Cortana is not an asset. She's a danger. She has access for one of the main galaxy-spanning network." But I'd like to say that's the first time it's actually been spelled out to us what that is in such a simple term. So I think that's an important thing to note, that in terms of the games, we've never really had something as clear-cut as that. And so I've liked they've simplified it down for us.
And Halsey knows Cortana's out there because she's been like detecting her, right? When she was hanging out with Jul.
Yeah,
she was looking.
She kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
That something was happening, and kind of I don't know if she knew at the time it was Cortana, but she sussed it out anyway. And this is a very weird scene because it's mostly between Halsey and Lasky, with Palmer chiming in with smart remarks every now and again, and Roland just being ignored. Mm-hmm. Almost like he's an afterthought, which is kind of weird.
But so he kind of is inserting himself into the conversation, like he's interrupting them too. Yeah,
he's very much like he's an assertive guy anyway. He like we were kind of talking off air. Like he's a young AI. Obviously he's been given massive responsibility that is the Infinity, and the previous AI didn't get on too well. As she was erased by Cortana.
Just completely click-clacked.
Yeah. And I think it was accidental, right? If I remember correctly.
Was that when she was all pissed off? Is that what she did?
Yeah, there was a bit of that. I think they explained it somewhere, and I can't remember.
I think it's in one of the comics.
I think it might be. Yeah, she was doing something, and this AI got in her way, and she was in her kind of rampant state and kind of went a bit overboard and totally wiped out this AI. I think she covered her tracks pretty well as well. I think I remember something along those lines. Anyhow, Roland is like, wait a minute, hold on. Cortana's alive, and people are just ignoring her. And Halsey is just continuing on the conversation with Lasky of like, you know, she seems to be able to control the device. Roland is just like, oh, what the hell's going on? And then Lasky drops the bomb of John thinks that Cortana contacted him. And Lasky's like, what? Hell no. John cannot speak to her. Mm-hmm. He is not equipped emotionally to look after her. Roland keeps trying to put in with like, hey, what the hell's going on? Cortana did what now? And they're like, and then Palmer's pretty much, it's kind of a cool line of like, Halsey goes, you let Chief go after her, and Palmer butts in and goes, no one lets the Chief do anything, he does what he wants. But she says it in a very kind of pissy way. Of like, he's just like outside the chain of command, he's not, like, you know, an obedient soldier like good little Sarah is. Pretty much Lasky says like, well, as of 0:31 this morning he was declared absent without leave. And if you were following the Hunt the Truth story, it gets very interesting around here, and it was obviously way more, like we talked in the first kind of episode, like it was way more interesting back then before we gotten further in the campaign. Because at the moment, like, if you're playing this campaign, you haven't really had a lot to kind of give out about. It's like, okay, they had a good introduction of Fireteam Osiris, they were interesting, they were kind of, as a fast mission intro, that was cool. Got the Jewel, got Halsey back, we're all ready to rock. You got a great mission with Blue Team, it was awesome. They're a very different set of teams, so you're like, this is great. And now you're getting the Hunt. This is where it starts. You have John being issued, like, he's gone AWOL. You can understand, because like when you're doing Hunt the Truth, you were trying to figure out what causes John to do that.
Yeah.
And like we said, so this was it. Was the tipping point was Cortana, and then you have like Halsey kind of going, John is not equipped to mostly deal with her as a threat. Roland freaks out and goes, is anyone going to answer me? Lasky is just like, barely even looks at him, like, you're out of line, Roland. He's like, yes,
he
sir.
doesn't even, yeah.
So is everybody else, in a kind of pissy little way. He says, you created Cortana, Dak. You know, now you're throwing her out of the airlock with these accusations, which I think is a bit extreme. Because clearly Halsey knows more than Roland does about the situation. Halsey just stares at him. It's pretty hilarious. Roland says, you think she tricked the Master Chief into abandoning his post, respectfully, sir, to what end? Why is Cortana the problem? Because she refused to die when she was supposed to? Which is an excellent line, and it just has Lasky squaring off against him, and then it slowly fades to black.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's just
what the hell? That conversation of those four characters has, well, not really Palmer, but those three characters is way more interesting. Like, there's more going on there.
There's more, right.
Do you know what I mean? There's definitely way more. Like, I mean, that dynamic, and even setting up, like, the world of what is, John gone AWOL and how important that is. Because the other materials, like Hunt the Truth, really built that up of, like, holy shit. And now you're getting, right, what's the ramifications of that?
Yeah.
And I think there's something, there's a lot cut out here, I think. There should be way more in here. Because when the cutscene fades back to black, you get to, or back from black, you get the best
Locke
buds the Halo 5 is trying to make that doesn't actually exist, which is Buck and Locke having a conversation in Hangar Deck. They're prepping for a mission. And this did get me excited. This conversation between these two guys. Because again, it all feeds into the hunt, the build-up of what it actually is like to go after Master Chief as an enemy. And you're thinking, holy shit, are we getting Spartan on Spartan action? This is so interesting. Because Buck is kind of saying, it's not just another target. Do you know what I mean? Are you okay with this? Locke is like, every target is just another target, Buck. Which is
Lame.
more or less what you would expect from Locke, the professional, yeah. Buck is like, for you, maybe. Because there's a bit of history here, and Locke's is hinting at, based on his final remark here. Buck's, we kind of know, because we had New Blood.
New blood. Just new blood.
Is it New Blood? Yeah, I'm always getting too mixed up. So you have a bit of New Blood, you have the background story of ODST, and you kind of know somewhat how Chief's actions kind of like, I don't think that they've never met, but like Buck is very aware of he's only alive because of the actions of Chief.
Yeah, I think Chief inspired a lot of people to join the military or become a Spartan, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Then you have a great line of Buck kind of saying, I love being an ODST, point and shoot, none of the grey area BS. Because obviously working for Oni, he's in a very different world than he was as an ODST. Fun little bit of trivia, his pistol here doesn't have any, it says it's kind of missing. some of its attachments. I think how does it exactly word it? Because I had it there. Opening cutscene: Buck's pistol, whispered truth, lacks its suppressor.
Oh shit! Is that what that is?
Yeah, because the pistol looks weird and always looks weird. And I remember way back, pistol, we were messing around in Forge and like with the pistols, and it had only just come out, and it was awesome. But it has like a suppressor.
The whispered truth is awesome to play with if you get it in Fiesta and stuff too. It gives you a speed boost and everything. It's real great. Also, I like how in all the cutscenes they made Nathan Fillion look extra handsome.
Yeah, yes he is. He's a damn fine-looking man.
I think you've mentioned that before, Krista.
Did I? Okay, I'm just like, I find it really hilarious because obviously Nathan Fillion, he's older, so he's got kind of wrinkles and stuff. Totally gone with the face.
Well, that's what the Spartan Miracle Juice will do to a man, Krista. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna de-age you. It's gonna make you damn fat.
I think you should just mention that every.
I'm gonna do it every
time.
mission that he shows up in. Yeah.
I have to say he looks real good in that armor. I do like his armor. He looks damn.
It's
fine.
also like a kind of ODST hybrid armor, kind of.
Yeah,
definitely his helmet. You can see his helmet is definitely inspired by that, and he has some iconography. So you get the cool premise then of Buck saying, "How are we even supposed to stop them?" You know, ask nicely. And Locke is like, "No," and he throws this gadget at him. It's like a circular thing. And it kind of totally locks down the armor. He calls it armor restraint, which totally makes sense that Oni would have this. Because if you're building super mega soldiers and they're super indoctrinated, there's going to be a case where you're going to need to either decommission them or you're going to have to, if someone potentially goes against you, have to take them out.
My only question on it is the way it's deployed. Is like you have to chuck it at somebody.
Well, I
Don't
mean,
you think they could have come up with maybe a bullet or something like that, like a way to,
something, a projectile,
a launcher of some sort. Yeah.
No,
or
you just take it and you just whip it at them.
yeah, I get some kind of grenade, I guess, or something that emits a field, because we know from books and stuff there's different ways of taking out Spartan armors. We've seen that in different ways. I guess the point of this one in particular is I guess to be up close. Do you know what I mean? Because you're
they're sending Spartans to apprehend Spartans, so that makes more sense than a Marine going up to a Spartan and be like, sir, can you put this on your armor real quick?
Thank you.
Tap tap.
I guess,
Mr. Chief,
I guess
sir?
maybe it's supposed to be somewhat less aggressive, maybe, than shooting a projectile. I don't know. Anyway, so Locke pretty much just spells it out. This is the plan. This is what we're going to do. It short circuits their suit systems, and as soon as it comes off, your suit goes back to normal again. So Buck kind of registers. He's got the facial acting here is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Of Nathan, you can see the realities of what they're doing, registering with him. And he turns and says, Locke, everybody's gonna hate us. Every Spartan, every soldier, when they hear about this, they're gonna hate us. You know that, right? And then Locke just says, you're not the only one here because of him. Now, that's both interesting because the way Locke delivers that line makes me think that it's something direct. Something like that they had a direct action. Maybe not, but Locke's history is kind of shrouded in mystery. We don't have too much of it. You get a little bit more in Nightfall if you go through all the second stories and stuff like that. There's a little bit of hints of kind of different things that happened. This sentence and how this kind of cutscene kind of leads off, that's the kind of end of the cutscene, really. It really did set up of I wanted to see what that was like. I wanted to see other people go against Osiris because they were going after their hero. Do you know what I mean? And you never get that. Now, I guess the game story moves so much fast. It moves pretty quick. But at the same time, it just, the weight of the world doesn't feel like it comes into the story, and I feel like it should because of everything else that they built up to this moment.
Remember, so Locke talks about being, I don't know, motivated to become a Spartan, potentially by Master Chief. Was that from, remember the Halo 2 cutscenes, like some of the terminals?
Oh, the extra ones?
Well, the terminals, remember? And it's like that Locke is like recapping. He's doing dossiers on Arbiter and stuff like that.
I forgot
Wasn't he
about
like
those.
was he an Oni agent at that time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I
so
think
maybe
those-
some of that is a callback.
Those terminals I think are part of. I think they might be based canonically after this moment, because I got the sense that was like research into Chief when he's trying to actually. I mean, like the other medias and stuff that make it sound like Locke was more active in searching for Chief, as opposed to like when we get this, because like up to now in the story he had no reason to be looking at Chief or looking at or going after him, but then you have all the extra cutscenes between him and Arbiter.
Yeah, I think he
which
was
kinda
just
happened a bit.
recapping. So I'm almost
Yeah.
positive that was like closer to wartime, and like they were trying to figure out who the Arbiter is. And I think they put Locke on that task, and so they were using. It was like a moment in time that they were using Locke. I think maybe it was right around when Halo 2 was going on, and Locke was doing that research. And then there is some future stuff where it's Locke and Arbiter side by side. But it's just where he like voices over, and he like kind of gives an overview of the billions of people that Arbiter killed. I'm forgetting what the other one. I think there's one or two. Anyway, so yeah, let's go back and let's talk about what is maybe missing. And I have some thoughts on what else they could have done. But it's really interesting how they just cut that initial conversation. They cut it off really short, and there could have been a lot more. I don't know,
Like to the point where it feels unfinished.
Yeah, and there's no. You figured there would have been maybe a conversation at some point with, I don't know, Osman or somebody, Admiral Hood or Lord Hood.
And it's not like they
You
don't
know.
have, a voice actress for Osman because she showed up in Spartan Ops. So
Right.
they have a face model and a voice actor for Osman already there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and we all love Osman. We want to see her more.
Yeah,
Yeah, we haven't seen Hood in a while.
should have been in this game.
Hood still exists because he's in the comic. He was in the comic series right before this.
Yes.
But so there it seems like there's something missing there, and then this fade in, fade out. This conversation's okay, I guess. But what I think is missing between Locke and Bucket, but I think what is missing is there's no briefing beforehand before they go out on this mission. Like I pictured Lasky sitting down in front, similar to like the very beginning of the game, where Lasky and Palmer are given an overview of Kamchatka and like what they're supposed to do. Like, okay, now Blue Team has gone rogue and they're chasing after Cortana. Like, give us an overview of what's going on here. Give us a little like rah moment to maybe get excited about chasing Blue Team. But they completely skip over that. They don't include that at all. They lean on the moment, the negative infinity. I don't like it. They lean on that a little bit too much, and just you're supposed to realize in that moment, which you do, but you don't necessarily realize the gravity of the situation because it's Chief, and the Chief's just going to do what he wants to, and we've always done what we want to, and now they never point the fallout from the UNSC, like how big it is outside of this marketing campaign, which doesn't directly tie in with what we're doing now. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah,
there.
it's just weird. Like, I don't know.
The other thing, and we'll get into the mission now, but the other thing that I think they missed, this mission is called Glassed, and you when you're in the mission, you're fighting, and there's lots going on, but they don't necessarily hammer it home that this planet has been glassed, and like there's no like pan out, and like you're
don't
going
get to
down the
see
space
it.
elevator here in a little bit. You don't get to like get a camera of like 10, 15 to 20 seconds just looking around the planet, realizing all of the destruction and what's going on. They just kind of throw you in there and expect you to have some sort of emotional connection to that. So I think that's another missed opportunity.
Yeah, they should definitely spell out what it means to be glassed and what actually is there.
Right.
Like what it is they're doing, it's kind of fucked up when you think about it, because they're kind of digging through melted humans.
Right.
There's some good. There's some the intel on the next kind of part is pretty cool. There is some good intel in here. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So then the cutscenes kind of end where they show Osiris deploying to the space elevator, and there is some exposition here where Tanaka talks about the planet being glassed in '48, and so it's been a while. And now the this corporation here is chipping away and trying to bring it back to life, trying to make it habitable again. But again, there's a little missed opportunity. Like, dumb it down a little bit for the players. Like, show us visually what that looks like versus just kind of shoving us into it and into the fight. This ride down the space elevator, I think, is really cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah. You see in the distance, you see the planet first, and there's like a sister planet or something else going on off in the distance. And as you get further down, then you start to see like pelicans flying by in flames, and some phaetons. We haven't really seen those yet, but there's some phaetons out there. So there's a battle going on, and then Governor Sloan pops on, and he's very grumpy. He doesn't want you there.
He is a grumpy guy.
He is, and he's the leader of this, I guess, Meridian station, which we'll get to eventually. But he's kind of like keeping everything under control here in this station. And I think he has a tie-in with this corporation. The corporation is Liang Dortmund. Do we know anything about them at all, David? Did you find anything about Liang?
There's not a whole lot there. There seem to be simply created for Halo 5. They don't have a whole lot of history or references. They're essentially a mining company. They're set up. I get the impression that they've been set up because there's actually big business around harvesting glass planets. Like, the glass essentially is a lot of silicon, and that is used in a lot of technology. So it's actually very profitable. If it's kind of messed up when you think about what they're going and doing. And
should we just talk about what glassing is? Because I'm sure if people have been here the entire time, they know what it is. But what is glassing again?
There are different grades of it, but essentially it is plasma bombardment from orbit on a concentrated area of a planet. It's actually rare enough that the entire planet is glassed. The Covenant have done it, but it takes massive amounts of resources and fuel to do it, and a huge fleet at various stages in orbit, all concentrating the fire to essentially boil off oceans, boil off an atmosphere, essentially destroy an entire planet.
Yeah, it's melted.
It melts everything together. There's some good information around it, and even in the game, kind of mentioned in the next kind of section, where kind of things of like you can find melt structures, and like some things are kind of like they're like bubbles. There's kind of weird formations that kind of happen. There's been some good take of the books. Like, if you read the comic that was the intro for Tanaka, which I think was one of Escalation's, had her intro. That was really cool. She was a glass survivor. I really enjoyed that. And like part of her planet was glassed, and they kind
survived
of lived in
like
tunnels
underground.
And stuff like that. The most recent book had a glass survivor. That was Legacy.
Yes.
Did that had a glass survivor, so that was kind of interesting. It's pretty devastating. It's like horrific. Like, all of humanity is living on the fear of, and even still to this day, the repercussions of what that is. Because obviously that has the potential to wipe out millions and billions of people in one go.
But it's interesting that it's interesting that the planet still survives. It's not
in
like
some cases.
The planet isn't completely destroyed and imploded and blow up at the end when you're glass. It's just like they
The planet
melt
is involved.
everything.
It's just like a surface.
Most of the people die. Yeah.
Yeah, in the worst case, it is just a hunk of rock that is inhabitable because the atmosphere has been burned off. And in some cases, if it's only like a continent or maybe the cities and major structures, it is potential that could be rehabilitated. It can be what am I saying again?
Habitable.
Almost like terraformed back again. It can be made habitable again. Yeah. So Meridian is obviously one of those where it's not the whole planet, but it's a significant portion. I'll double check that just to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of curious to see. Oh, the image of it is pretty devastating, actually.
Yeah, when you go around the planet, like when you're in this mission, like everything's black and, smooth, glassy rock.
The image of the planet itself is pretty, like, it looks like entirely devastated. It's pretty damn cool. They attacked it in 2548. After a long battle that lasted for 3 years, Meridian was ultimately glassed by the Covenant in 2551. Meridian was resettled by the Corporation Colony. Damn, that looks pretty damn fucking cool.
There's a couple books out about pre-glassed Meridian, and they're the young adult novels. Battleborn.
Right, yeah. That's right. So they're making Meridian a very big deal, right?
Yes.
That's a good point. Yeah, because it's kind of a new thing in Halo 5 and then beyond. Meridian is an important place. And we're going to spend a lot of time here in Meridian during Halo 5. So let's... Oh, do you have anything else?
Not really. I think Meridian is itself a moon. When I'm
it's around a
so
gas
that's probably
giant.
Why it's quite a small planet.
Oh, that was the...
Okay.
So the gas giant was in the distance when we were going down. Okay. Cool.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. They have a luminary identified to them that there's something in there.
Yeah. So that's why.
There's some mission intel about this and stuff like that. Chris will go over later.
Yeah, the Covenant would have just glassed it right away if they weren't looking for something. That's why they were able to defend it for 3 years. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff that's to come. But so we get down and Sloan is grumpy and he doesn't want us here, and he's telling everybody hey, we're being invaded by the Prometheans. We need to take up arms. We need to defend ourselves. We need to stop them. Let's talk about kind of at the end maybe why the Prometheans are here, because that was part of my question. Is like, what are they even doing here? But all right, so then we're going to go down to this giant door. You're going to have a couple settlers or workers, argue over whether or not they should open the door. They open the door, and then a bunch of crawlers pop out. This first little area it kind of sets the stage for Meridian and what it looks like and what we're doing, and like the color scheme. I like how there's like a lot of like hints at yellow in here. It's like black and yellow is like the whole theme.
It's an environment unlike what we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah, so take a second before you just dive in and start shooting Prometheans, just to kind of scan around and see how well of a job they did to really, creating this unique world here. But Krista, why don't you talk about this opening area here? It's kind of like a little bit of a horde mode almost. It's just kind of a wave-based. You can't proceed. There's a big door at the end.
Yeah. So the whole concept is in order to open the next door, you have to clear out all the hostiles out of this. And of course, like as you're playing and running around the map, more hostiles respawning in their annoying Promethean way. It is very beneficial to walk around this map and kind of go in things. There's a couple hidden rooms that you can find, like heavy weapons caches and stuff.
What did you find? Anything
Yeah,
good?
so if you entering this map, if you go up the left and you go all the way to the top of the rafters, there are 2 sniper rifles up there. And then if you ground pound from that location, there's a place to ground pound into this little room that has a rocket launcher and a bunch of grenades in it.
Yeah, I think I found that.
Which I really like. I really like in Halo 5, like these dynamic spaces where there's like hidden things and you can kind of run around and look for stuff. There's kind of stuff kind of tucked away. It's very nice to have a big open environment and then being able to kind of go with the flow and kind of find things. There's a bunch of turrets in this area, and the Prometheans are very happy to get on those turrets, so...
They do. They love being on those turrets.
If you have the foresight, it's actually beneficial to just take the turrets off of the mounts so they can't use them, because they won't pick them up off of the ground.
Yeah, good point.
So if you're playing on Legendary or something, it's worth it to kind of... You can shoot down the turrets from those mounts, usually, so... It's beneficial to do that because it's so annoying when the soldiers go on there. And then at the very end of this kind of encounter, you get a nice Promethean knight, and he's like, "Hello, I'm here to murder you." He's got an incineration cannon, and he's just ready to just bop you with it. So
yeah, he's a little bit of a bear. David, why don't you talk about our experience? We played together.
What?
We sure did.
We're friends or something?
First ever.
We did it. First time.
It took forever,
Might as well be
and
the last.
Colin wouldn't talk to me, but like we did it.
My mic wasn't working. That's all.
Aww.
Whatever. Get your mic working.
So what happened, David? Did we do good? I feel like it was a struggle here.
It was a bit rusty. I picked Vale. I do like Vale. I like her armor. I like the SMG, so I like starting with that. But I will say, her second starting weapon is the plasma pistol.
That's weak.
It's terrible
That's
against Prometheans. So like I was always dropping and picking up weapons on the go. We played on heroic and we died a few times.
Yeah.
I played way too aggressively for heroic with the weapons I had. Really just SMGs. I was forcing it really. I was forcing the SMG. The SMG should not be used against Prometheans in this mission.
No, definitely not.
But I did have some fun picking up power weapons and doing different things. We had some great fun. Colin driving. I got into the side seat with a.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, I want to finish at this spot though.
Really cool. This spot.
Yeah. So there's the turrets at the top. Remember?
Oh, did you activate?
Yeah, I sprinted for it right away. Sloan mentions the turrets.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing I always do in this area is I sprint up top. You have to, Spartan charge through a wall because it's, I don't know, they forgot the keys or something, and then you hit the turret button, and so that helps a little bit. It never really seems like it helps a lot, but I think it
draws enemy fire.
It does. It does. They draw enemies will shoot it, and I've seen them take out like the crawlers and stuff like that, and the soldiers. It can be useful in limited amounts. I went to the left to the landing pad because I never go there.
Okay.
I always do what you do. I go up right and activate the turrets and fight from there. So because you went there, I'm like, I'm gonna go left this time. There's like a DMR up there and stuff like that, and a few grenades.
There's a sniper up there too, like Kristen mentioned, and there's like a like a little bit of an Easter egg thing up there where you can like shoot the generator and to the door in the next area, and Sloan gets mad at you.
Yeah, you can force the progression, which I think is cool. The Prometheans will stop respawning, and the door will open for you, and then Sloan will give out for you like not clearing the area and putting his people in danger and stuff. It's cool.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't do it. I tried to do it. That's part of the reason we were having a hard time. Is I was abandoning you. I was going up there and trying to do that. But yeah, we had a good time for sure. And then the doors do open. I hopped in the Warthog right away to drive, which I was thinking today after we played is that maybe you should have driven because you mentioned in one of our episodes that you tend to be a more of a Warthog driver. And
I'm a driver.
Okay.
That's why the novelty of sitting in the side with a power weapon was like, I'm gonna try this out.
I was surprised that you did that, but
well, I was like, I picked up an incendiary cannon, and I was just like, this is gonna be good, especially the Halo 5's variant, and it was very good. At taking it with splash damage, and I wasn't charging it up. I was just single shotting it.
Okay.
Which was excellent against soldiers. So I had actually fun doing that.
Did you take that from the last the night?
Yeah,
okay.
From the last night that we fought.
Was there anything in that building on the side? I think I just hopped in the Warthog. Like there's two doors.
No, I went up and had a look. No,
there's nothing up there. Okay.
No, not that I can be.
So this mission is kind of a whole series of choke points. So this is the first choke point here, and then we're gonna take vehicles down to the next checkpoint, which is this McCord River Bridge. There's a door that's sealed there. On the way, you get to see this pelican come up above and like crash on the side, which is fun. Like they had to add that, right?
They're always.
Yep. So that was good, and then you're kind of getting used to driving because this is the first time we've driven, right? Yeah. So we're getting used to the Warthog and our gun gooses.
Gun gooses.
Yeah,
also, just a note, like every time you find like any kind of ordnance, the Spartans are just like, why do these people have this?
Yeah.
Like when you find the like rocket launcher, they're like, why the hell do they need heavy ordnance here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly to defend themselves, I guess.
You get kind of similar vibes of Reach, when you're like in that mission where you're fighting with the militia, and they're like, here's some weapons and gear and armor drops and heavy weapons, and are like, have you got all this gear?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting though. It makes you think that maybe the UNSC isn't, like there's a smuggling going on. And
all the time,
the black market is rife. And it's where these big manufacturers are absolutely double dealing.
And something that's been kind of introduced recently in one of the books to the universe is people are salvaging is crazy right now because it's post-war. People are out there salvaging everything and selling it on these black markets. You can get whatever you want. People are getting harvesters off the black market.
Yeah, that's nuts. So have some fun, drive around, drive over soldiers and crawlers as much as you want. There's some intel sprinkled along the way. We'll talk about that at the very end, but have some fun using your what is it called again? The Artemis scan. And then this last checkpoint is here. There's a door in front of this bridge, and you need to defend it. There's a couple of officers, some soldier officers with their turrets that show up here. You don't have to clear everybody out before Sloan decides to finally open the door. He realizes, hey, okay, well maybe I can leverage you guys and to help us out a little bit. So why don't you keep going? Pretty quickly here too. After the door opens, you see some of the soldiers take one of the warthogs, and they're driving the warthogs now. I think Buck mentions that too, which is new. I don't think any of the Covenant have ever driven UNSC vehicles, right? Like at all.
I think you can make it happen in Halo 3.
Where a Covenant is driving a warthog?
No.
I don't
Flood.
know, maybe not.
Flood will drive warthogs and stuff.
Oh, Flood will. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
That's my thinking. I want to say... No, maybe not. I've definitely been boarded, I'm sure. I thought they would take over vehicles.
It's more of a
but maybe they only
firefight
take over
thing, though,
Covenant
isn't
vehicles.
it? Like in firefight, especially like Reach firefight, elites will have like human weapons and stuff, but like canonically, Covenant will not touch human machines and stuff like that because they're unclean and they're from the heretics and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's interesting seeing somebody we're fighting pick up our vehicles. Like, wait a minute, that shouldn't be happening. And sometimes if you're driving and Tanaka's on the turret, she doesn't really do that great of a job on the turret. So
you have to direct them. That's what the first playthrough I did myself. You've got to be using the up on the D-pad to like tell them to shoot and what target to shoot, and you can still do that while driving. That's the best way to do that.
I gotcha. So as player 2, were you able to use Artemis and do the directing of the
I could do Artemis, but no directing. I wanted to ask you if you could still direct, and would I see a ping, or maybe I wouldn't. Maybe it would only control the AI characters.
Gotcha.
Were you pressing up at all?
I didn't even use it. I just figured, it's me and David, we're good.
Nope.
Yeah.
The AIs are dum-dums.
Yeah.
We'd some bad AI revives.
Oh.
Yeah. We did.
That's the worst. I feel so awful when the AI just will like walk into turret fire and save me, and I'm like, well, fuck. And then all 3 of them will do it.
Yeah.
One of them will die a certain way, and then all of them will die that exact same way. It's like, ugh.
Yep.
Why me?
Yeah, absolutely. We keep going down, go over this cool bridge, which is nice and long and cool. And on the other side, we get another. So you can really just go to the end of the mission from here, but you can also answer the call of Billy, because Billy's in the garage, and Billy has a scorpion. And and Sloan's like, all right, you've helped us out so much so far, go ahead and go get it. So we go to the garage. There's 2 ways to get in the garage. You can actually just wait until the door opens, or you can climb up this building. It's kind of off. So as you're exiting the bridge, off to the distance and to the left, there's a building over there, and you can either climb up the top and you can like hammer through the top of it. You can do the Spartan or the ground pound to get down into the Scorpion tank holding garage, or you can just kind of wait and clear out some of the Prometheans, and they'll pop it open for you. One of the walkthroughs I was watching earlier today, like the guy completely skipped it. Like he must not have been paying attention at all to the story. He just like took his Warthog all the way up. But you gotta take that tank, man.
Yes.
That Scorpion feels so good.
It's slow as all hell.
It's slow. Yeah. You hopped on the side for a while, didn't you?
I used the turret.
Oh, you were on the turret. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can get on the side of that one, actually.
You can mount the side. I love how
I don't think
when
so,
you
no.
fire the main cannon, how that the shell just
The
flips out the
the
side.
shell goes at the back.
Yeah.
It's the best animation. It's really satisfying.
The whole everything about this tank I'm loving. I'm loving the aesthetic. I'm loving the color. It's great. It took me a while. I didn't like it right away. The first time I played this, like, wait, why is this thing yellow? this is not my green UNSC Scorpion tank. But now playing it again and again, it's like, ooh, I really like these yellow vehicles.
Well, wouldn't make sense
I
for
like
them
it,
to
but
keep the UNSC insignias on vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's civilian contractors, but I think it's...
They're branded. They're branded.
Yeah, they're branded, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It also does take like 5 days to reload. That's
Yes.
the worst thing I hate about it.
Literally 5
Yeah,
days.
So right when you get out, the beam turrets activate,
Hate them.
and they take 2 shots.
Yeah,
from the
that's
Scorpion.
ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a bit
In
much.
Halo 4, they
Yeah,
took
it's-
1 plasma grenade, by the way. So,
It should. Oh, really?
yeah.
It should
You
just
just
melt them
stuck
right away.
'em.
Yeah, I guess plasma grenades do that to most things. But yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, they shouldn't be that difficult to take out. But so now we're in the Scorpion tank. Krista, talk to me about your Scorpion tank experience.
I blew up many things. You're kind of just going up the hill, right? Like
super slow.
super
Yep,
slow,
Just climbing up that hill.
Guys are spawning here and there, and you just blow them the fuck up. And then usually there's someone really dumb in your turret, and they're not doing their job. And
Not for me though. That was David. David was spot
if
on.
it's the AI, they're dumb.
I did okay.
And then you just
True.
It's actually just a pretty simple run. Like all the people all of the Spartans are talking about, oh, why do they have a tank? This is so dumb. This is ridiculous. And Sloane's like, come see me at my house, but you have to get rid of all the Prometheans or else I won't open the gate. You're like, okay, I have a tank, thank you. And
Buck has a good line there too.
He does, yeah.
He talks about how he changes his tune.
oh yeah, because now he's like, please
It's got
help
a little
me.
hillbilly kind of accent. It's cool.
Yeah.
And Sloane even says like,
Please come help my
Sloane
house.
at one point earlier in the mission says, oh, I guess all the rumors about Spartans are true. Now go do this mission.
Yeah. The
Mhm.
propaganda.
The Spartans are so respectful.
it's-
They're like, yes, sir, we'll do that for you.
Well, Locke is lots of diplomat though. You can see he knows what he's doing.
Right. Yeah. So climb this hill with the Scorpion, blow a bunch of stuff up, and then this is our final choke point here of the mission, where there's the door. You can see Meridian stationed up above. Oh, actually, I missed the skull. So this skull's weird. It's bizarre. I don't know how they figured out how to get this skull. Somebody did, just from probably messing around. But you have to. So when you're almost all the way up the hill, actually no, you're about halfway. You're climbing up the hill with the Scorpion, and you see there's like a ship, like I don't know, they're like a carrier ship or something like that. They're loading something or they're transporting something, and then you see a Phaeton chasing after it, and you have to take out that Phaeton, which is their Forerunner flying things. We'll actually see them up close later on. So you have to take out that Phaeton, and then you'll hear a grunt birthday party cheer. And then after that happens, the skull will then spawn somewhere. And you have to play this on Legendary too, I believe,
Yep.
right?
Yep, and then you have to go
Yeah,
look
you
for
do.
it. Because there's like a couple different spawn
It
locations.
spawns in like random locations.
This was
yeah.
really annoying.
Is there anything else? I don't remember any other skull being this difficult.
The one in
Where
Halo
it's just,
3
like,
was
this
pretty
ridiculous-
dumb, where you had to jump through the rings.
Oh,
Like,
that's a
in
good
a
dumb
point.
in the
sequence?
sense, not
Yeah.
dumb. Like I thought it was cool when I did it, but it's dumb in the sense of someone had to figure this out, and how the hell did they do that?
Yeah.
So there are
Yeah,
skulls
yeah.
with some kind of like finicky stuff to them.
That's the only other one I can think of, though. Maybe there are more, but so this is the one like puzzly skull. That it's a little weird. I mean, it's cool that they do it. I like that they add the puzzles into Halo every once in a while. But if you're trying,
It's nice that they have skulls in this game. Looking at you,
it is
Halo
nice. They have
4.
skulls that you have to unlock. Right. But if you're trying to do this unassisted, it'd be a very difficult, frustrating thing to find in this mission. But luckily, the internet exists, and once somebody figures it out, they just
Who are
post it
these
on for
people
everybody
that are
else.
figuring it out in like 5 hours as well? With no hints.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Cray
oh, I
cray.
found it. I was just messing around. It's like, what the hell? What kind of messing around have you been doing?
I know. Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. But so get that on Legendary, I think there's a Spartan laser somewhere. One of the walkthroughs said use the Spartan laser to take down the Phaeton. That's probably the best way
I
to do
remember
it.
There
that.
are at least 3 different Spartans lasers. So I was trying to get your attention several times, and you were just plowing on through. And I was like, okay.
You
I
should've
picked one
hopped
up at one stage. It's pretty cool. There's a Spartan laser.
So we take the tank all the way up to these doors. This big ship hovering above this, I don't know, encampment, I guess we'll call it. That's Meridian Station, and we'll talk about that on the next episode. So now we just have their final defense here, and you see, you know, then we just have all of these Prometheans. We didn't talk about how the Prometheans spawn. There's no dropships. They just have this like burst of it must be slip space energy or something like that, and they just kind of portal on.
It's very Terminator-ish.
Yeah.
It's cool.
That's a good point. It is very cool, but it also got me thinking, like, if they can do this, why don't they just do that into Meridian Station?
Because they dumb.
But apparently they're dumb.
I don't think there's anything controlling them. I think they're just reacting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because this kind of spoilery stuff, but when you think of what's happening on this planet right now, like Cortana?
Yeah, well, let's not get too much into it.
Yeah, okay. We can talk about it later. But I don't think there's an overall presence directing them to do anything in particular other than just fight back.
But they're on the planet for a reason. Can we talk about that, or do we need to wait on that? Like, they're here. Like, why are they here? Maybe that's just a mystery, and we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah.
They're mysteriously here. They're grumpy. They're fighting the corporation. They're fighting Sloan. But why they're here? So yeah, that'll uncover itself a little bit later on. So let's talk about this fight here. Krista, what do you do in this last area here? Are you in the tank the entire time? Do you hop out? Do you take a turret?
I just stand by. I just park the tank by the gate and just kill everyone as they come up the hill.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? So you just like roll it back as far as you can?
Yeah, I strafe a little bit, but like on Legendary, I'd get out of the tank and go on a turret or something, but on Heroic, it's just like, I'm gonna stay here and kill everyone.
It felt like they scaled up a little bit for us, David. Did you get that sense? I don't remember it taking as long as it did.
I think it does do that in Halo 5.
Yeah, it felt like there was maybe more waves or more enemies per wave or something like that, but I think we both died a couple times. Right? Oh, the one thing that I noticed is that you could die, but the game wouldn't reset unless I died.
No, I think that's a skull.
That's a skull?
Actually, there's a skull that does that for co-op when one person dies. It's actually how Halo 2 worked and why it was so difficult on co-op. When one player died, he went back to a save point.
Oh, okay.
Checkpoint. There's a skull that does that. I can't remember what it's called, but there's one of them that has. Definitely one of the games. I'm gonna look it up.
I was just assuming that because, yeah, I mean that makes sense. I was assuming because they have the meter on everybody, that like because we were together, if you died, then we have to restart. But apparently just the first player. Locke is the only one that matters. Locke can't die. Otherwise, you got to restart.
Stupid Locke.
Does it restart for you and not me? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you had died at one point, and then respawned somewhere, and like I didn't get to revive you.
Oh well, yeah. That's yeah. But I wonder if it was the other way around and you died, even though you were locked, would it let me play on and would you revive?
No, I think when I died, then it restarted.
I was already dead at one.
Oh, you could have already been dead. That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there was one or two times where like I got disintegrated real.
Guys, stop dying. You're not doing it right.
That's true.
If
you're not dying, you're not having fun.
I'm gonna say Iron Skull.
I think. Oh, the one thing that I noticed too, and then this is the first time I noticed it, is there's Gauss turrets.
Yes. Yeah, they're Gauss.
Right at the front there.
Before?
I haven't noticed those before. Yeah, those are sweet. And you can hop on them and you can rip them off and run around with them.
Yeah.
Too. But that's brand new. That wasn't in Halo 4.
Yeah, it helps on Legendary, honestly.
Yeah, those things will melt enemies. For sure. And then they have that nice little area off onto the right when you're climbing up there where there's turrets up top. But the soldiers will come up there and murder you.
Yep.
So you just have to move a lot. You have to move around a lot if you're not in the tank. If you're in the tank too, you'll probably take a lot of damage. I know at the end of our run, my tank was aflame, as always. And there's a point where I was like, I got to get out of here. Otherwise, this thing's going to blow up. So I finally abandoned it at the tail end.
Yeah, but it's not like you take your tank to the next mission or anything like that, so... You never see it again. Exactly. You might as well wreck it.
Yep, absolutely. Cool, and then you clear all the waves, and... there's a bunch of... I guess there's some knights at the very end. So I think there's maybe a knight or two that's scattered out throughout some of the waves, but at the very end, I think there's a couple more knights at the tail end, so clear those out. And those are fun fights in general. I like fighting those knights, especially when you get the heavy ordnance. Yeah, and then we fade to black, and then we'll go on to the next mission, our first walking mission of Halo 5.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, there's some interesting
It's an interesting
stuff.
idea.
Yeah.
It didn't pan out well in a shooting game.
Yeah. Anything else to add before we move on to our regular stuff? David, did you find anything else out?
There's not really a whole lot going on. I mean, you kind of covered bits of trivia that there is. There's not a whole lot in Halo 5, generally speaking, to be fair. The other thing, the transport Warthog that is scripted to be destroyed by the Promethean Knight is a game set piece and cannot be driven. So that's when you get in the tank straight away and a Knight kind of jumps in and like destroys a Warthog. It's not apparently a real Warthog. It's just there for that one moment in that one sequence.
There's a bunch of Warthogs around. Like I remember the first one we had started when we were crossing the bridge. It got beat up a little bit from that soldier fight, so I got to the side and then flipped another one over and started using that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a reveal in the game where it's not clear that Governor Sloan... Do we know Governor Sloan yet?
No, we'll talk about him next minute.
No, okay, that's fine. I couldn't really remember because it all blurs into one for me.
Yeah. Krista, what do you think about the Warthog sounds?
Oh, they're really good in this game. They're not like whiny like in Halo 4. I think all of the sound design in this game is on point. It's so good. Mm-hmm. It sounds great. Whatever Foley artists did this game did a really good job.
Agreed. Are you a fan of the colors as well? The corporate colors?
Oh yeah. Just generally, you mean like for the Warthogs and stuff?
Yeah, in this mission.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that they wouldn't have UNSC colors on stolen UNSC gear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's fine, and, you know, something that's been kind of introduced in Halo 5 multiplayer and stuff like that is different variants of vehicles that are different colors and different patterns and stuff like that.
What are the other ones? There's an Oni one, right? There's like a woodland one.
So there's a snow tundra one. There's...
Arctic one.
Dude, there's like 20 different Warthogs. There's a Needler one.
Does the Needler
one? The Needler
so
one's
cool.
sick. It's like bright red and it's got a needle cannon on the back.
There's a Rally one that's like green and luminous and stuff for racing.
It's awesome.
That's cool.
It's a lot of fun, and there's a bunch of different Scorpion ones as well. There's a Gauze Scorpion. Whew. Oh, it's real good.
Oh yeah.
It's real good.
That sounds nice. Sounds real nice. Is the Needlehog the one that's in Rocket League?
I don't know.
It might be.
No, Rocket League's the standard Warthog, I think.
It is, okay.
I'd be surprised if they put one like that in. Could be in it. I'd be fully.
I think there's a Needler sound in Rocket League. Anyway. The other thing that I wanted to mention was at the very beginning of the mission where you get out of the elevator. Did you notice that I killed that poor worker, David?
Oh my god.
Yes, you did. You beat him to the ground.
I ground pounded the guy that greets you. It was like, whoa, Spartans, what's going on? Like I tried punching him just to see what they would do. He didn't do anything. It didn't phase him. But I ground pounded him. He just crumbled. Oh man, I felt bad for that guy. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, you Spartan destroyed his spine. With your fist, Colin. It's pretty brutal.
I wonder if you could do... I didn't do that to anybody else. I wonder if you could just go around and just murder everybody.
I'm sure eventually they would try to start killing you.
You would think so.
Yeah,
you would think so. So, sorry, bud. Didn't mean to. Well, I kind of meant to, but sorry.
I meant to. Come on, Colin.
All right, so let's do some intel, right?
Yeah, there is some intel. How much do we got? We got 6 intels? Yeah, we have 6 intels. So, the first 3 are by Evelyn Collins. The first one talks about how, she used to live on Meridian before the glassing, and her returning home to see the planet completely ruined, and how it affects her as she's coming down from the elevator and, kind of remembering how the world was and how it's not that way anymore. The second one is her starting to cut through the glass today to make roads, and, she talks about Meridian Station. She talks about, if she can actually do this. Most of the people here are signed up for the profit. She's the only one here to kind of, rebuild and, take back her planet and stuff like that. And she's just kind of mortified by how
really cool.
the planet's kind of state at the moment. And then the final one by her is her meeting another colonist named Lori, who was also a survivor of Meridian. She talks to her about, how she's been feeling and stuff, and the woman says, you gotta forget about what Meridian was and think about what it could be. So she's kind of takes her back and puts everything in a new perspective, that she can kind of build a new world. So that's kind of Evelyn's story. The next one is just a one-off. It's called Shipment Received, and it's just talking about how they got a shipment from Bozo. Poor guy. A warthog, 3 mongoose, and 5 pelicans. And then they checked them for identifiable marks, and, talking about how good of a job Bozo did at stealing stuff from the UNSC.
So that's cool. That ties it in with all the smuggling that we talked about.
Yeah. And then these last 2 are called History of Meridian. 1 out of 6 and 2 out of 6. So I'm guessing there's going to be more later on. Ooh. So it's someone putting together a retrospective of Meridian in her final days. The record indicates that 139 ships carrying 70,000 souls arrived on Meridian in 2432. Most of them came from France, and they named their first town Avignon, and that's how the colony on Meridian was established. The second one was a big debate over the future of Meridian early on. Some wanted it to stay unspoiled and undeveloped. Some wanted to build it out. The debates between the stewards and the prospectors came when a rich mineral deposit was found in the Marathon mountain range, causing a rush of new development as everybody tried to claim their place. Yeah, Marathon. Marathon was an old Bungie game, so that might be a...
Call back.
Yeah, maybe. So, basically, they weren't sure whether to develop it or not, and then they found some super awesome minerals, and then they're like, fuck it, we like money. And that's all the little histories we got.
Very nice. Yeah, they're solid. They're good. They answer some potential questions that you might have as you're, exploring the Halo universe. So I think they're solid. They're solid. They're not. I think the last missions one were a lot cooler, but this one they're interesting little drops of info. I did look up because we were talking about the AI on the Infinity, the before Roland, and so that was Aine, Aine.
I think Annie.
The previous, is it Annie? Is that how you'd say it?
You'd actually say it as Anya if it's Irish.
Oh,
that's how you pronounce it.
Wow, dang. Okay.
If it's Aine,
that's what it is.
Then it's Anya.
Anya, okay. So Anya was a temporary AI originally deployed for the Infinity, but so her death is right here. So when the Infinity was hacked by the Forerunner known as the Didact, and the ship crashed into Requiem, right? Remember all that from Halo 4. Anya was severely damaged by the impact. During the battle, Cortana asked Anya to let her help the ship's crew, but Anya, noticing Cortana's rampancy and the deactivation of her central power core at Cortana's hands, threatened her and with locking the AI and John 117 on the ship. In response, Cortana broke down Anya's matrix, killing her.
Well,
Yeah. So don't threaten rampant Cortana. It's not a good idea. And then Anya died. Sorry, Anya.
Yeah, just making sure I was correct. During the rebel takeover of the ship, she appeared in an elaborate, partially translucent dress with flowers in her hair, matching her namesake from Celtic mythology. So Anya.
Okay, nice.
Is how you would definitely pronounce that. That's from Halo Initiation Issue 2.
Very nice. All right, let's do some community. I don't think there's a ton of response. I think this is one of my poorer questions, I guess. Maybe people just don't... Well, read it first.
It's okay, Colin. It's okay, Colin. Colin Perkins, admin of October 11th at 9:20 p.m. Rewrite the opening cutscene from Glass Mission in Halo 5. Holy shit, Colin. Question for Mission Debrief.
Maybe it was a little in-depth. Maybe people don't want to write that long.
All right. Facebook has the one response from Buddy Cool, which is Miles. Fuzzy static screen reveals Master Chief going AWOL. Carnage. Lasky. Doc, this is your man's?
That's it. End scene.
That's it. And scene.
And then I
Colin
asked
Perkins
for more
comments
and
and
nobody
stuff.
responded.
I'm sorry, buddy.
It was a tall task, I think. Maybe a little bit too much. I could have asked it differently, saying like, what were they missing or something like that. Anyway, we'll go with it. Chris, I think there was a couple good responses. Not many.
So the first one is same question, of course, on the Discord. The first one is by Graveman. Look, shit's fucked. We need to find John before he makes it even more fucked. Roland makes a good point and calls people on their bullshit and cutscene. Oh wait, that's what really happened.
Yep.
Alright, let me scroll all the way to the bottom. McMumble says, look lads, Chiefy Boy has gone straight loco. Thirsty fecker. He's probably gonna blow up a reactor somewhere. It's becoming a bit of a bad habit for him, so if someone could lightly tap him a little and kind of sort him out. ... The last one is Dezudo, who says, Roland. Not sure why Chief's so upset with me. It was only one night. We're both consenting AIs. I don't even know she was rampant. She told me she was only 4 years off of the production line. I'm gonna check the source code of every hot chick that waves her naked body at me. All right. Very good.
That was pretty good.
That's about it.
That was pretty good.
I like how the previous one he calls out that she just blows stuff up. That's a solution.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That is
pretty true. There's like a couple truths in Halo is that a Pelican's gonna crash and Chief's gonna blow up a reactor somewhere along the lines.
Yeah.
Okay, that will do it for our debriefing of the Glass mission from Halo 5. On the next episode, we'll be covering Meridian Station and Unconfirmed. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. Until next time,
Evolved.
Evolved.
Hooray.